Hello my dudes, this is Kadima back on my channel with a new review video, this time about the most recent Souls-like game that has been out for a few days now, Lies of P. Now, I say Souls-like game because it's the RPG genre that is most noticeable for how hardcore and how unforgiving it can be. As you can see the footage, one simple misstep and you are already paying the price. There's very little room for mistakes in Souls-like games, as you're probably aware if you are a fan of the genre. Lies of P is a great addition to the genre, and also it's the very first that I would say it surprised me, because it was not made from From Software Studios, the one studio that became famous for such video games. This time it's a Bloodborne remake. It's the closest I can come to classify Lies of P. Would be Bloodborne, but made by someone else. So there's a lot of Bloodborne here, as you can tell by the footage if you are unfamiliar with the game, but with its own approach, with its own ideas. The story is compelling, the graphics absolutely amazing, the darkness of the whole thing, with the contrast of light here and there, bringing you joy to the play, to the game that you're playing, making you constantly interested on taking the next step, defeating the next enemy, exploring the areas while you enjoy the scenarios because they are very well designed. It's not an open world game, therefore I wouldn't compare it to Elden Ring, which is an open world RPG. This is not the case. It's very linear, with the small detour here and there, the shortcut here and there, but it's a one-way ticket. You keep progressing through the game in a linear way. There's no going everywhere or anywhere you want at any given point in time. You have to access those areas as you move forward. It's a vertical progression, and it's kind of enjoyable considering the story, considering the game itself. It's a good way to go. It makes sense in this case. Now, would I recommend this game? And that's the point of the whole review. Let's cut straight to the point. Yes, definitely. Again, it's an unforgiving game, especially if you are unfamiliar with the genre. If you are familiar with this kind of game, if you are a Souls veteran, I would definitely recommend that you give Lies of P a try. You won't be disappointed. However, there's a few things here and there that could use improvement. The gameplay itself, it's not as fluid as one would expect, but you get used to it. The more you play, the more you will grow accustomed to it. It's not as fluid as Bloodborne. It's not as fast-paced as Bloodborne, except for the rare occasion where you fight a specific enemy that tends to be more fast-paced than everyone else. But most of the bosses are very telegraphed movements. You will eventually learn their movesets. You will eventually learn how to explore their weaknesses. You will make the best out of what weapon suits this boss fight, what kind of damage is more efficient against this enemy or that enemy as you move forward. The game doesn't exactly tell you these things, but you will, for your own experience, you will start realizing these things. And so there's a learning curve which keeps the game interesting, of course. Now, talking about one thing that surprised me in this game is the weapon system. Unlike many of the Souls-borne genre, where you get the weapon and the weapon is what it is and you can't make any changes to the weapon besides leveling it up and upgrading it, in the case of Lies of P, there's a lot of customization, because the weapons in Lies of P work as in a two-part weapon. You've got the blades part of the weapon and you got the handle part of the weapon. Now each weapon comes of course with both handle and blade, but you reach a certain area right at the start of the game where you acquire a tool that will allow you to modify the weapons as you please, giving you a lot of room for customization to figure out what it is that you enjoy, your playstyle, how you want to approach the game, which weapon works with your playstyle, what blade suits what handle in order to improve your damage, and also keeping the moveset that you enjoy the most. Now, this customization is absolutely for free. You don't pay any costs for experimenting with the weapons. Of course, leveling up the weapons in this case is actually quite simple. You only get to upgrade the blade itself. You don't really get to upgrade the handles. The only customization to the handles is to modify the scaling of the weapon. So the stats in the game are quite simple. You only get 6 different stats, 6 or 7, I can't tell on top of my head, but it's quite easy to understand what they do, what fits what corresponds to strength, what corresponds to dexterity, comparing to the Souls-like genre, what will give you more stamina, what will give you more health. So it's pretty easy to figure out, pretty easy to make the best out of your damage, and finding the gear that suits your style and making the best out of that said gear. When it comes to the armor is also very simple to understand. Your equipment consists of 4 different pieces that will give you your resistances. That will be physical resistance, acid resistance, fire resistance, etc. Now, different parts of armor will give you different resistances, but the number one resistance, of course, will always be the physical side of things. Now, again, the game keeps it very simple. It's not rocket science. You can easily understand what does what equipment is more suitable for this specific situation. If you are surrounded by, let's say, an area with enemies that will cause you to build up decay, which is a status effect in the game, you can easily change an item in your inventory, in your equipment, to be more resistant to decay. So again, it makes it easy to play. The game doesn't complicate things too much. So if you are actually unfamiliar with this kind of game, you will also quickly grow up to get familiar with these things. Now, one more thing I want to talk about is item use. As you can see on my inventory right now, you come with 2 different belts, the upper belt and the down belt. And by default, they only have 3 slots each. So at any given point in time, you can only actually have 6 items, 6 usable items equipped. Now, this will limit your playstyle, means that you can't just have everything equipped at one go and just use everything you have in one go. And not only that, the game also limits the amount of each item you can carry with you. Everything else will be in the storage. Of course, some might find this a bit limiting. I find this quite interesting, as it makes the game more challenging. If you could carry, let's say, 50 bombs, you could easily just defeat a boss by throwing those 50 bombs. If you look at the screen now, I'm fighting this boss and I'm throwing these bombs to make the boss become incinerated, so he will take damage over time. Now, imagine if you could carry 50 of these. You see my point. I have only thrown 5, and you can see the amount of damage that I have already done. Now, as you can see, I also have this phantom-like NPC helping me with this boss. The reason why I am using it in this fight was because I actually wanted to demonstrate this for the video. I have completed the game entirely without using this a single time, because I wanted to experience the challenge and complete the game completely by myself. But to record this video, I decided to use it while I fight this boss. This boss shows up in the 4th, fifth area of the game, maybe. So considering the game has been out for 4-5 days now, I would say that this is pretty much spoiler free, because everybody that is playing the game has already made it to this area, and those who have not played the game and intend to do so, you will have no idea exactly where I am, because I will not be showing that in the video. Moving forward, as I was saying, the equipment itself is pretty easy to use. You will get familiar to it, and you will learn how to make the best out of it. One other thing that makes the game quite interesting is the fact that the weapons have durability, and you have to constantly repair them, sometimes in the middle of a fight, and this comes by default. Of course, as you progress in the game, you will eventually reach a stage where you can speed up the repairing system, or you can actually reduce the amount of durability your weapons lose as you use them. Now, when it comes to blocking and defending, it takes quite some getting used to, even for a Souls player like me, which I'm quite the Souls veteran, as you probably are aware by now. It took me some time to get familiar with the blocking and the parrying, kind of, which has a different name in this game. It's called Perfect Guard. But the parrying system and the guard system took me some time to get familiar, because being a Souls veteran, a guy that played all Souls games, Bloodborne, Elden Ring, you guys probably who have played these games as well know that the best thing to do in such games is actually dodge. Dodge is much better than blocking or trying to parry a boss. Now, in this game, dodge can be very punishable. As you have probably noticed while I'm fighting this boss, I got hit quite a few times when dodging. It's because there is a chance to dodge, but it's harder to actually get the timing right than it is to just guard and regain your health with the retain health system, which is a very interesting system that allows you to recover some of the health that you lose when you block enemy hits. As I said, it's another interesting feature that the game gives you, and if you make the best out of it, you'll be getting used to it, probably better than me, who kept playing the first playthrough trying to dodge most times instead of just blocking and regaining my health. Now, again, just because I'm a veteran, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to make mistakes. I have learned from my mistakes, and for those who are playing the game and making the same mistake of trying to dodge every single thing that you see, follow my advice, learn how to block and how to parry. I will be making a build video about how to get these things done in a much easier way. In any case, for those who have made it this far in the video, again, I can't recommend this game enough. If you like the Souls genre series and you are looking for the next best thing, this is it. Especially considering it's not a From Software game, you will be surprised of how good this game actually is. It is, in my opinion, by far the best non-From Software Souls game that I've ever played. I strongly recommend that you guys give it a try. If you do need any advice, as usual, don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Also, leave your thoughts and your opinions on the game as well, if you are playing it or if you are planning to play the game at some point. I would like to hear your thoughts, of course, and share my opinion with you guys. And again, if I can help in any way, shape or form, if you got any questions, just leave them in the comment section down below. You know I answer every single comment, so feel free to do so. Again, thank you so much for supporting the channel. I truly appreciate everyone, and for your support. You guys have been quite awesome. We are getting closer to 2,500 subscribers, so I'll see you there. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Cheerio.